He doesn't want to go to war with Russia. He doesn't want to see a third world war. So yeah, he's got Zelensky on his arm like a puppet. Check my PTR.
I agree with that. Guys, we're going to go popcorn style. If you want to speak, just grab the mic.
Yeah, Jay, I got to go. It's really good being in your room. And Norm, it's good seeing you. Everybody really enjoyed it. Good moderating as usual, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Man, I always appreciate when you come into my spaces. I'm happy to see that you're here and you're healthy. Odin?
Yeah, actually about the meeting in the Oval Office, maybe the goal was to make Zelensky look like a puppet, but it didn't turn out. It didn't work because Zelensky showed his, his bad mood, maybe. So anyways, it was a disaster, it was both for the U.S. and for Ukraine too. It didn't change anything. They didn't come to any solution, and Zelensky just left and went to Europe, and as you said, got cashed in Europe, in Britain, and maybe also in other European countries. So basically, we just see that the U.S. is out of this conflict, and maybe not entirely because Biden made some actions before Trump came into office. But anyways, the U.S. is now out of the conflict. I guess so. I'm not sure about it. And the goal maybe is to make Europe pay more, as Trump was saying that all the time. That Europe is not paying the bills. So probably it was done to make Europe pay more.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation was actually going quite well, JB. I don't know if you watched the whole conversation, but there was an hour of I would say, pretty decent conversation, and then it all went sour when Zelensky started questioning diplomacy, and I think J.D. Vance got a little bit uppity about the idea of diplomacy and just the lack of respect that he was kind of showing. It was almost like this guy was punching around, thinking that he's had so much success everywhere else he's gone, that to sort of move into the Oval Office and sort of stand his ground as if to think he's going to walk out of it with everything that he expects from America, he called it wrong. He didn't know. He didn't read the room properly. He didn't know who he was dealing with.
Well,
and I don't know whether.
Yeah. Don't even get up, man. Let me just say this.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, and I don't give a fuck what side of the aisle people are on, left, right, middle, I don't care. Donald Trump's the one that got all these hostages released in Gaza. He sent his people over there before he came into office, and they got them out. And I think Donald Trump has stated he's pro-Israel, which means I'm pro-Donald Trump. I believe he's going to get peace over there, and he's going to help eliminate Hamas. What do you think?
Okay, so shifting the conversation to that, I totally agree with you. I'm 100% on your page with respect to Donald Trump and pushing the hostage situation. But I will say this. I will say that before Donald Trump's plans go into action in terms of cleaning up Gaza, Israel has to do what it has to do to get as many hostages out right now. Once that's done, right, then the green light is open for anything and everything. And I think that's what we have to wait for. We've got a few more weeks of this. In fact, Israel asked for an extension. In fact, Israel did the right thing. They asked for an extension to the ceasefire, and they've shown again that Hamas has just decided to reject it, like they reject everything else. And now this is effectively the green light for 400,000 soldiers to be called up. Must go in and annihilate, that place. Get everybody out of there. That's really what they have to do. They have to
you know what? They do have to clean it up. And the title of this room, what does it mean to be politically correct? And for me, politically correct is just doing the right thing. You're allowed to have your opinion, right? Everybody has an opinion. It's like assholes. Everybody has one. But as soon as Trump said that America was going to take over that area, oh my God, bro. The left was running around like the hair was on fire. He's going to put the Trump Plaza there, and he's going to make beach resorts. And look what's going on there now. It's fucking rubble. Who gives a fuck? End the conflict, get the hostages out, and rebuild it. Now, one problem I have with what Trump has said, I don't want American troops over there, but I don't know how else we do it and secure that area and rebuild Gaza without American troops. Edmund, good morning.
Hey, good morning. You kind of moved to Gaza and Israel, but going back to, what Trump
Wait,
did.
Edmund, let me just say this to you. You don't have to mute up. You don't have to mute up. I've been enjoying our conversations lately. Please don't become batshit crazy. Thank you.
Yeah, it's too early in the morning for that. The point is, I get the feeling that, like, Zelensky is not liked. I mean, did you like his personality on display? I didn't like it. His communication is terrible. His public speaking capabilities are terrible. He really effed up. He needed to go in there, be humble, and shut his mouth, and he didn't do that. Well, whether that was his strategy or it was Trump's strategy, it's irrelevant. He failed from a communications perspective as a leader of his country. He effed up big time.
Oh, you're getting a lot of from me. You go
Let
ahead,
me
Igor.
tell you. Yeah, I don't know if you know Zelensky and Ukrainians as we do here in Russia, but it may be shocking. It may look like a news for you, but here in Russia we always knew that they have this, ungrateful gypsy mentality of them. If you remember, I don't know if you remember or not, when in the beginning of the war, when Musk said, like, in 2022, I believe he said, like, this war must be stopped because it is meaningless killing of people. And at that time, Ukrainians come to him and to his Twitter post, uh, and like they were saying that you're fucking Russian asset, you're Putin's whore, and all that. And when he said like the Crimea is historically belongs to Russia, you cannot imagine how the top tier Ukrainian politics came to his Twitter account and they were saying, your job is just to shut the fuck up and give us Starlinks. It was in the beginning of the war. Like, it is not as Zelensky suddenly became this ungrateful gypsy kind of bastard. It's been like this all the time, this whole time. Not only Zelensky, most of the Ukrainians,
Igor,
this was one of the
Igor,
main reasons.
Igor, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. You
Yes.
stated that you're Russian. Now you don't speak for all Russians, but what's the feeling with Russians as far as this war? Forget Zelensky. Do they want the war to end, or they want it to continue?
Of course, they want the war to end. Of course, they didn't want this war to start in the first place. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy that the people understand that this war is not just because Putin wants some more land or more resources. Here in Russia, everybody understands that this is kind of, you know, when you pull off the string enough, so either it breaks, either it gonna push back and hurt somebody. So all this NATO stuff, NATO expanding stuff, and it's all so obvious here for Russian peoples that the war is totally, you know, totally proven. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, of course, everybody wants this war to stop. But everybody wants a peace for Russia. Everybody wants that the whole warmonger democracy party guys. I don't know. I'm not telling about America, but it was party's project to destabilize the region, to make this wars. Georgia war. Of course, it was democracy guys' project that they provoked Russia to attack. Like, it was not Russia who attacked first Georgia. It was Georgia who attacked first Russia. Yeah, it was Georgia, Ukraine, Syria. All of these places has been provoked by Democrats, and this war needs to be ended, of course. But this war needs to bring peace to the region. This is the thing.
Thank you, Spasibo. So I just did an article to the top. I don't know if you guys heard this. Elon Musk appears to back the U.S. withdrawing from NATO and the UN. The UN, I agree with. It's a fucking paper tiger. It's a waste of time. And it's an anti-Semitic organization. As far as NATO, I'm not sure. Can you guys see see Donald Trump pulling us out of NATO? Norm?
Yeah, I see. Why not? Why does the U.S. need NATO? Actually, it's all the other member states that needs the U.S. within NATO. I think it's obvious. So, and referring back to what I don't know what his name is, Igor, right? Like he said, like some like good stuff, let's say, because the West broke status quo with Russia. Like there was this, agreement, let's say, of expanding NATO to the east and including Ukraine and other states. But Ukraine is a big, huge state with huge population, and now we see the consequences of the, this policy of the West, the former politicians, let's say, who made this huge mess, and now current politicians have to change the situation. So basically, yeah, I agree with the previous speaker.
Thank you, Odin. Hold on, Johnny. Johnny, hold on. Odin, where are you calling from? Odin?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Okay, thank you, sir. Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add something to the Russian guy that has said. I want to tell this, that we are in this situation right now, speaking about the war in Ukraine, because of Obama. We have to remember this, because Obama started the COP in Ukraine in 2014. And also, Europe is fucked up.
Clinton, not Obama. Clinton. Clinton was the one who started this.
Yeah, but it was Obama administration. Obama was the president.
But Clinton was moving the red lines closer and closer with NATO to Russia. Clinton was throwing out the deals that they'd already signed up, and it was Clinton who was the one who started this mess.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about...
He wanted to further stretch towards Russia with NATO. I mean, if it wasn't
I know, but I'm talking about...
Guys, hold on. Let Johnny land, and then I'll come to you, and then I'll go to Igor. Okay, Johnny?
Yeah, okay, I want to tell something. Yeah, it's okay, Pumalu, but it was Obama administration, okay? So I'm talking about Obama because he's the boss. He was the boss, actually. And he did all this mess in Ukraine, and we are now talking about this because of his mess. He started the COP there, and I want to add something also, that here in Europe, in the last 10 years, we have been flooded with immigrants from Africa and the Middle East. Also because of Obama, we are paying the consequences of 10 years ago of that administration. And now, if you visit Europe, for example, if you go to Paris, it looks like Islamabad, okay? We have a huge problem of Islam right now, of immigrants right now, all because of Obama and Clinton. I don't forget this, and you should either.
The thing is, back in the 90s, Clinton made a pivotal decision to expand NATO eastward. And he basically incorporated that Warsaw Pact, all of those countries into that alliance. And he tried to promote stability and democracy in a post-Cold War Europe. However, this is the problem of where the tension began with Russia, which perceived NATO's enlargement as a strategic threat. So there you've got Russia sitting there, looking at NATO, going, hold on a second, what are these guys doing? Why are they expanding their military administration, championed by our friend Clinton at that time, and then trying to make out if they want peace? This is kind of erasing all those Cold War divisions. So I think Russia's opposition to that is, I mean, you could have certainly have seen it when Boris Yeltsin expressed a very, very big objection to NATO's eastward expansion. And that was actually a full violation of any assurances that could stabilize the region. So that's why we have this long-term implication today. That's the problem. So,
Thank you, Pamela.
So anyway.
Thank you. I'm going to do a quick room reset. This is Healthy Debates. What does it mean to be politically correct? We've got some MVP VIPs in the room right now. We got Aya, we got Kelly, we got Roy, we got Rena, we got Mike Brutus. Mike, I like the beard, dude. Looks good. Tiffany, Richard, Jacob, Glennis. Guys, if you want to come up, just raise your hand. We're having a respectful conversation. I don't know if it's politically correct because I don't even know what the fuck that means. Edmund, go ahead.
Yeah, politically correct really implies politically incorrect, or politically incorrect really implies politically correct. And we all know that's the truth. And in the now, right now, with Trump in office, all these issues that we're talking about, whether it was Obama or it was Clinton or it was Bush, etc., they're all being reconciled in the now. And Trump is the man to do that. And I think that that Zelensky Oval Office meeting was his, shakedown. It was really like a clubhouse room. It was like listening to a very dysfunctional clubhouse room and you're not participating and you're very angry and they're talking about such an important issue, which is World War III. It was very scary and shocking because you were watching in real time a world leader fighting Russia and we're backing it. It was very scary, I think, for the listeners to hear the disagreement and the friction. And so I just think we are in good times now. Thank God Trump won, because if Kamala won, we would be waging World War III against Russia. They want Russia to fall. They want regime change. And that type of attitude has to change in America. It is changing. We are no longer engaged in this eternal struggle with Russia post World War II. I'm just saying, I think it's peaceful and great times ahead. The malevolent actor in the future might not be America. It could be UK. It could be France. You don't know who's going to pull the rug in the future, but hopefully it's not America.
Edmund, let me say this. Because we have some libtards in here, and I respect some of these libtards who sit there and cry and complain. Trump is friends with Putin. Trump is friends with the leader of North Korea. Well, my thing is this. Don't we want to have a leader that has dialogue with the enemy? Or would we rather go back to Biden, who shits his pants and smells little girls' hair? Which leader would we rather have? This dude's engaged. That's just my opinion. Marshall, you pinned a link in the chat. Oh, wait, hold on, Marshall. We got one of the MVPs up here. Mike Brutus, what's up, bro? I like the beard.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna flip over to Encyclopedia Britannica here. Can you still hear me? So,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right, because I know everyone's going to ask for a source. Political correctness was invented by Marxist-Leninists. Okay, so Encyclopedia Britannica, if you look it up, second paragraph down after some throat clearing, it says, the term first appeared in Marxist-Leninist vocabulary following the Russian Revolution of 1917. At the time, it was used to describe adherence to the policies and principles of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. It then goes on to say a bunch of left-wing shit, saying, "Oh no, it changed," and it doesn't mean that, but that's exactly what it is. It's a verbal trick created by Marxist-Leninists to censor their opponents and put everyone in line to be working towards the Führer, just like the Nazi socialists, because all socialists are the same.
Was that an actual contribution?
I like this contribution on stage. Mike, let me ask you a question.
Was that an actual
Do you
contribution?
think that was a setup the other day with
the
Zelensky
Zelensky
homos? Yeah.
No, I think Zelensky, the only thing I can think is that he kind of has, how would you put it, like he's captured by his own image, right? Like he has become world renowned for being this defiant little guy that, stands up to bullies or whatever, his media image is. And I think he's been smelling his own farts, and he's become a caricature of himself, and that this explains exactly his reaction. He when you receive so much positive reinforcement for a behavior, it's like guys who've been to prison for a long time, when they get out, they still wear their shower shoes around the house and meticulously clean, keep their dwelling pin clean and make weird foods out of like fucking ramen and Bic lighters and shit. So Zelensky has the same thing. He's a victim of his own caricature of himself. And frankly, I mean, the thing that I haven't heard discussed, Jay, I think you probably agree with this. As a Queens guy, Donald Trump, I feel like I know what's going on in his head, what he wants to say to him. And the amount of restraint that Donald Trump showed is fucking amazing. Trump often calls people a dog, and but in the neighborhood, calling someone a rat is like the worst thing ever. And I just get the sense Donald Trump wanted to tell him, listen here, you fucking little rat, you sniveling little rat. You've been on a world tour, banging your little tin cup on the pavement, begging for change, and you have the balls to come into the White House of the United States of America and tell the commander-in-chief of the greatest country, the greatest military force, that we're gonna feel pain? How fucking dare you, you little fucking rat?
Well,
And
Mike,
all of these people talking shit about the guy who threw in the jab about the suit, that is the most appropriate thing that absolutely needed to be said. This little rat went to the reopening of Notre Dame dressed like he was going to a fucking football match. He's a little scumbag.
And you wanted a few billion.
Well, let me say this, Mike. As soon as he was escorted out of the White House, he went to England and they decided to give him $3.4 billion. Like it was nothing. Because their economy is thriving. Makes no sense to me. Maybe we should have Elon do a check on where that money to Ukraine went.
JB, that money in the UK goes
Hold
to
on.
BEA Systems, to L2. It goes to their defense manufacturers.
Okay, that's fine. But their economy's in the, hold on. Their economy's in the toilet, and I don't think they can afford to throw around $3.4 billion.
Yeah, the charitable contributions mean that the country pays less tax, JB. Come on, haven't you worked that one out yet?
Not yet. Igor, go ahead, Igor.
I just wanted to say that Trump grabbed Zelensky by his pussy. That's all I want to say.
Yes, in my PTR, that's exactly where he's grabbing him.
All right, hold on. I want to welcome John to the stage. John, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing? Appreciate that.
Any day I wake up is a great day for me. Mike is yours, sir.
Yeah. I really like the conversation, and I just think that one of the things that's going on is, like you guys were saying, to be a world leader, you have to be educated. I don't care if you're a gypsy guy or, you're this or that. You've got to be a good negotiator. You got to be diplomatic. You got to read the room like you guys were talking about. I mean, some of the other footage that I saw, the press was just this mass of almost yelling and hollering, for attention. And it was a chaotic environment, and it almost seemed like Zelensky was, had a couple of beers belted or went to happy hour or something. It seemed a little strange, but kind of in jest. But put that to the side. I just think that here's a golden opportunity for this guy. He should have been well schooled, well prepared, know the talking points for the diplomacy. But to try and vet, just like JD said, which I really like, but to try and vet the whole, negotiated peace settlement in front of the news media was a tragic mistake. Did you guys see the mark? I'll go on mute after this.
No, John,
Did
let me ask you a question.
Sure,
John,
go ahead.
Before you get, let me ask you a question after you mute up. You know who Lindsey
Sure.
Graham is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsey Graham is a senator. He's also as close to Trump as you're going to get. From what I've read, Lindsey Graham told this guy, don't fall for the bait when you go out there, and he still did it.
Oh, well, that's a great point. So I don't think Zelensky knows the analogies. I don't think Zelensky's a fisherman. I don't think don't fall for the bait. And then when he said, you have no cards, he doesn't play poker. You know what I mean? This is exactly my point. He doesn't understand the colloquialisms and the secondary analogies or metaphors for what Trump was talking about. And the stronger and more stern that Trump got, which I thought was a very smart move in negotiation, you call out the weakness, the guy just imploded. And so, for what it's worth, I just want to put my 2 cents in. But I think all that's an interesting dynamic, but a failed dynamic on the half of Zelensky. He should have been better prepared. He should have been better dressed, and he should have been schooled on the first rule of negotiation: read the room. Second, follow the leader, because he had no position, he has no leverage, and he really doesn't have much to negotiate with. I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys.
But see, to that point is that's my other opinion on why Zelensky
That's a
acts the way he
contribution.
acts. You know, the Democrat leadership over the past several years, and I mean, we still see these losers in the chat. To this day, they love when people talk shit to their face, right? Obama, etc., running around the world giving apology tours, the land acknowledgements, all of this type of bullshit. The left in America loves having snotty fucking Europeans come and tell us how evil and shitty and stupid we are. They eat it up. They love the Greta Thunbergs of the world. They love the Zelenskys of the world.
Mikey, check this out. Don't even mute up, Mikey. If they continue with this rhetoric, guess what's going to happen in 2028? We're going to have President J.D. Vance.
100%.
JB, if you could put me in the queue, I'd like to read what Robert F. Kennedy tweeted 22 hours ago.
Robert F. Kennedy, the health
Yeah.
lunatic?
Yep.
Be my guest. Go ahead.
He wrote, "This tweet risks being reported and restricted, but I see a necessity to say it out loud. Our real enemy isn't Russia or Ukraine. It's not even China. It's the ones who induced and tried to perpetuate wars so they can launder billions of our money into their own pockets. It's the ones who funded revolts and instability all over the world via USAID. It's the ones who have committed unspeakable crimes on children on an island and held themselves above the law. It's the ones who manipulate people with endless propaganda using our tax dollars. It's the ones who have sown so much division among our people. It's the ones who shot my dad, my uncle, and Donald Trump in the head. It's the ones who have poisoned our own people for years just so they can profit more. They're the same group of people, and we will not stop until we splinter them, the deep state, into 1,000 pieces and reclaim our country." Somebody made a comment, then his follow-up comment was, "If it hasn't been clear, they are Soros, Bill Gates, Schwab, BlackRock, big military, big pharma, the corrupt politicians like the Clintons, Biden, Chuck Schumer, Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and Fauci, and more importantly, the unelected bureaucrats who effectively control and run the FBI, CIA, and DOJ against the people's will. The draining has just begun. But these agencies aren't loyal to their directors or our president. They answer to those puppeteers. We need good people to replace the rogue agents, and for years our government has been a puppet and co-conspirator. Doge has been a great help to the POTUS. EO's delivered, and I'm optimistic this time around."
Thank you, Edmund. I have zero issues with what Elon is doing. People are like, "Oh my God, he's going to steal all our money." The richest guy on the planet needs your $20,000 that's in your 401k. Makes no sense. By the way, whoever's deleting the comments in the chat, please stop. I don't care what Joe B says. Just leave it alone. Thank you. Go ahead.
If you know this or no or don't, I don't know. Like the Ukraine always has been like this. I don't know if you remember or not, when the ambassador of Ukraine in Germany, he himself called Olaf Scholz. He called him what? Like, he called him a sausage, like a fucking sausage. The Chancellor of Germany has been called a sausage by Ukrainian ambassador. It's not the first time when Ukraine shows signs of total lack of diplomacy. Ukraine never had any fucking diplomacy. They never did. Why we all know about Ukraine this much, why we hear about them all the time, just because it was a project. Ukrainian project has been invested by so much fucking money. All these stars, like Al Pacino, Angelina Jolie, like whoever the fuck came to Ukraine. This guy, even he was presenting to Zelensky his Oscar. I forgot his name. Sean Penn. Sean Penn gave him his fucking Oscar in his cabinet. Like, yeah, this is the thing that the country in war needs right now. The fucking Oscar statue. And they never had any diplomacy in the first place. And in Russia there is this word, kolkhozniki. This means rednecks. You know. Ukrainian people, they always like they've been rednecks all this time. They never had any diplomacy. So yeah, this is what I want to say. Like, so you do not expect them. It's not a setup from JD Vance or Trump. It's not a part of big plan as it is. You know, it is just Zelensky is a fucking redneck, and he always been like this. But this time, Trump and Vance, they did not cover it up the cameras. They showed to the world who Zelensky is really, like, in the whole Ukraine. This is what happened.
Well, Igor, let me say this. At least for me, I'm pretty sure for some of the others on the stage, I am pro-Ukraine. Ukraine should be a sovereign country. I think the problem with Ukraine is the leadership, just like we had the problem in our country for 4 years with Biden. But I'm pro-Ukraine, man. I want them to be independent. I don't know if that's possible with Zelensky in place. Mike, you wanted to chime in?
Oh, I was just going to riff off of what he was saying with the Silence of the Lambs quote. You know, it's going to, in a way, what Trump and Vance were saying, were exposing is to Zelensky, you know what you look like to me? You look like a rube, a well-scrubbed, hustling rube with your good bag and your cheap shoes.
But he doesn't even wear a suit. I mean, he's dressed like he's going to the gym.
I can care less what he wears. He can wear a thong for all I give a shit. I think he handled that entire situation. He put his country at grave risk and danger because he tripped over his own ego. And here's my thing. And I said it a few times already. I'll say it again. Donald Trump runs the government like he's a mafia don. Maybe that's what we needed. Maybe we needed a cleansing. Hold on, Mikey. Maybe the government needed an enema. And Donald Trump's an enema. But I'll say this. I don't see peace happening with Zelensky. And when Zelensky comes back to America, and he's going to have to, I don't give a fuck how much money England gives him, France promises, and all. They got their own problems. But he's going to have to come back, and Trump's going to be in the driver's seat. Go ahead, Mikey.
I was just going to say about this whole suit thing. I mean, on one level, I get it. It doesn't matter. But on another level, right? If this fucking guy was just some dude, and he showed up to your sister's wedding dressed like he shows up to the fucking White House, you would throw him the fuck out, okay? And for the left, all the bitching and whining about social norms and values and blah, 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 blah. This guy is a disrespectful little prick, and I mean, every accusation from them is a confession, right? Everything they've said about Donald Trump is true 100-fold for this little rat Zelensky. He's a fucking game show host, okay? He's doing a little caricature of himself. It's pathetic. He's a disrespectful little weasel.
Well,
I love Trump.
Hold on, Igor. When Trump started yelling at him, saying, you don't hold any of the cards, he was right. This dude is in no position to negotiate. He should have just signed that deal and got peace to his people. He tripped over his fucking ego. Igor, hold on 1 second. I want to say good morning to Lawful. Good morning, Lawful. Can't hear you, man. Are you there? Lawful?
You can say good morning to me, JB, if you want.
Oh, I didn't see you, Jeb. What's up, bud? What's up, Jebediah?
So I wanted to add color on your most recent comment, and that is Zelensky overplayed it. Zelensky overplayed his hand because he knows Trump wants securing those rare earth minerals, and that's what pissed, I believe, I'm interpreting now, but I think that's what pissed Trump off and Vance off, and I don't know if that was good cop, bad cop by those two guys or not, but I do know that Zelensky thinks he owns leverage on this situation and these negotiations due to the fact that it turns out there's rare earths there that we're interested in, and that's now part of our geopolitical strategy, foreign policy strategy. So I wanted to say that, yes, he, from a funding and military point of view, he enjoys no leverage, but he thought he enjoyed leverage with Trump over the rare earth minerals.
Well, Jebediah, I read today, I think it was the New York Times, that the Commerce Secretary came out and said that Zelensky refused to sign the deal twice before they went on TV.
Exactly. I think that's what pissed Trump off. I think, you know, I mean, again, you're allowing me to express my First Amendment right here. I have no facts or anything. I just think they all went into that meeting steaming at each other and something was going to happen. I don't know how it unfolded, but I do believe that Zelensky thinks he has leverage over what the natural resource situation.
Thank you, Jimmy Dyer. Hold on 1 second. I want to go to Lawful. Lawful, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Morning, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Doing fantastic, sir. Go ahead, the mic is yours.
Oh, that was a comedy show. That was a comedy show. I heard somebody say Donald Trump is kind of like a mob boss. Well, as long as the mob take care of the family, it ain't really a problem, is it?
I got no issues with anything he's doing. I have no issues with Elon. Let him take care.
Mob take care of the family, it ain't a problem.
Well, I think that we actually have a leader now compared to the last 4 years, where we had, Weekend at Bernie's. Let me say good morning to Zach. Good morning, Zach.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
I'm chilling, bro. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So, Zach, let me ask you, you think that was planned? That was a planned attack by Trump and JD against Zelensky?
No, I don't think it was planned. I mean, maybe it was. If it was planned, I think all three of them are very good actors. Is that a narrative, JB? I am not familiar with this narrative that's planned or staged. Are there a lot of people saying that? I haven't heard many.
Well, what I've heard, Zach, is that he was set up. He was playing checkers, and Trump and JD Vance were playing chess. They wanted him to lose his temper. They wanted to expose him for what they see as a fraud.
When you put it that way, was it staged? No. Was it planned or was it a setup? Maybe. And I think that Donald Trump and probably J.D. Vance and the Trump team have picked up on something really significant that Clubhouse users like we have picked up as well, which is the ability to talk without a script and be able to stand by shit that you say is a very important quality in a man, woman, political leader, whatever. Kamala Harris couldn't do it. We saw that Donald Trump did do it on Joe Rogan. Donald Trump is a rambler. He does ramble sometimes. He does the weave, which people on Clubhouse do a lot too. But I think, if anything, JB, I don't think it was staged, but I do think they might have said, if we have a public interview with Zelensky, he's going to fall on his face. You want to try it? And then they tried it, and he fell on his face. So I think that's probably what happened.
Thank you, Zach. Guys, Odin, go ahead. We're going to go popcorn style.
Yeah, this party, this room is all about like Zelensky this, Zelensky that, and so on. And Trump is it's fabulous. Superb. I would say it looked like a show to me, and one of the reasons is they made these discussions, these talks open to the press, and I think they shouldn't do that. Maybe there was a goal behind that. Maybe it was all made up, and as Zach said, they all three are great actors, let's say. But anyways, if it wasn't a show and it was real, then Zelensky, I think, was really disrespectful to the meeting itself, because even his vice president, or I don't know, he had another guy with him. He was wearing a suit, he literally was wearing a suit. So Zelensky could also do that. Zelensky could just laugh, could just sit there, shake hands. I don't know, show some good attitude, at least, and not making all those arguments.
Hey, Odin, this is what Zelensky needed to do. Just say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" That's all he had to do.
Yeah, absolutely. He had to say that, and he needed to continue the talks behind doors. It was in front of the media. It was television, and it was great television, as Trump said it. And now we're talking about it, and everyone is talking about it. But yeah, he just had to be thankful, at least in front of the media, because he is in the Oval Office. He was invited and show some attitude. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Odin. Igor, go ahead.
Yeah, no, someone have said like Zelensky should not have told to Trump what he needs to feel, what America needs to feel when he threatened USA with the Russian invasion. One of the reasons to this behavior is that since the start of the war, Zelensky has been telling to everybody in Europe that Putin is coming after them. After Ukraine, it will be Latvia, Litva, Estonia, Poland, and all of these fucking European countries that Putin has never even dreamed of or thinking of conquering them. And Zelensky was been telling this bullshit all this time, and I believe that he lost in his bullshit that he planted around himself. So, and he forgot who is he talking to. Like, he's not talking to that fucking cuckold Scholz. He's talking to Trump, and he thought that this trick will gonna work with America, but he miscalculated it, and so yeah, this is the reason. Like, if you remember, he's been telling this bullshit all the time to European, to all of these countries, that Putin is going to get them after Ukraine, and they even calling themselves Ukraine, like shield of the fucking Europe. They they're calling themselves like this. So yeah, this was the reason, in my opinion, why he did this thing.
Thank you. Hold on a second, Mike. Let me just say this. Yo, Sicilian Pirate writes, "Fuck USA, glory to Ukraine." Hey, check this out, bro. If it wasn't for USA, there'd be no Ukraine. And that's a fact.
Thanks.
Good. Mike, you want to jump in? And I want to go to Speak Gregory.
Yeah, I was gonna say, these this whole thing, right? Like what Igor was saying, this is like total lefty fucking playbook that we've been hearing over and over. Holding people hostage, making threats, all the while you act like a victim, right? This is the trans thing. Is hey, we need to cut kids' dicks off, and then you say, I don't know, that sounds a little crazy to me. And they go, they're gonna kill themselves if we don't. We need USAID, or all these people are gonna die. You need to give us more money, or the Ukraine is gonna be taken over, and Russia's gonna take over the world. It's all of this bullshit threat, and then they when you call them on it, all of a sudden they start acting like I always say they remind me of the guy at the bar who talks shit and pinches your girlfriend's ass, and then when you step up to him, he goes, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?
Well, let me say this, and I agree with you, Mike. I don't know, is $350 billion not enough money? How much money do you have to pour into that country? Are we supposed to send, I'm supposed to send my children or your children to war for another country? I wonder what would happen if Elon, hold on. I would wonder what would happen if Elon did an audit of that money that went to Ukraine, $350 billion. And what would we find out that money went to? I'm going to go to Lawful, then Speak Gregory. Lawful?
My thing is, you should have just went ahead and signed the deal because America doesn't give anybody anything anyway. Everything has always been still lended to you for a while. But what do we get in return? Oh, you want us to give you money and then we don't get anything? No deal.
I agree with that. I had no problems with the deal that they had. Speak Gregory, man. Long time no speak. I hope everything's well with you and your family.
Good, man. Thank you for asking. I hope everybody in the room is good. Peace and love. It's interesting. This is a great conversation because, it's many people in the room on the stages. We agree, disagree about things, but I think I would really believe that everybody's interest is for the best for humanity, right? And Zach said something that was very, very interesting. I'm going to use the word covert and overt. It is sad that the scripted, they're so scripted, when they do stuff presidential. And all of these things been happening all the time. And so here's a sense of boldness, and people see it live, and they see discussions, but they prefer not knowing nothing. they prefer people coming out just saying God bless America, and you see handshakes, and the American people have not been accustomed to. I'm not going to use the word authentic, but just real shit in real time. Whether it becomes a big deal of a World War III or whatever happens, I would prefer to know how you really feel. Tell me how you really feel. You feel me?
This is how I feel, Speak. You ready? We have somebody
Yes,
in the room
sir.
right now. We have somebody in the room right now. Her name is Roya. Now, Roy and I don't always agree, but let me tell you something. She's politically connected. This is her lane, but when she speaks, because people get in their feelings, they shout her down. Instead of us listening and having the conversation and learning from each other, they rather just stay with their narrative. And that's really the truth, bro.
Yeah, and I'm like, when we talk about even, and that's why me and you have respect, and even me and Al, we battle and say stuff, but at the end of the day, if somebody really did research and they follow you and they say, well, this person does this, that, and that in real life in terms of trying to make a difference, even on the local level and their family and their community, and nationally, when you look at politics and people say they're local, I would say people, and you said JB all the time, is that most people are not courageous enough to challenge this stuff to say, let's clean up our act. Let us, we can still disagree. We might say, no, I think pork ain't no good. Some people say, yeah. But at the end of the day, what's the next steps? Where is this stuff going to go? And the media don't really help it because they sensationalize it versus really looking at it and explaining it, and because they can't, because they propagandists. So you're not going to hear a real conversation coming
Speak,
from.
let me ask you a question respectfully. What's the definition of insanity?
Of a what?
Of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again.
Over and over again, and getting the same results.
Our government has been doing the same thing, fucking over and over and over again. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Trump came in and said, you know what, we're gonna change this shit up a little bit. And people are running around like their hair's on fire.
Let me tell you something that happened to me a couple of days ago. So there was this blackout, right? Black people don't go shop at Target, blah, 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 blah. I pushed back. Now, I'm very militant, very pro-black, black power. I am. It's no secret. But guess what? I don't agree with Al Sharpton and that group. Why? Because if you really cared about the people, you would be organizing the people to use their economic power to buy farmland, to build schools, to build banks, to do this, to be competitive, to create jobs for yourself. And you wouldn't be just arguing with other people about what they not doing for us. If it hasn't happened yet, that means the responsibility is on us.
Speak, you don't have to mute up. Here's one of the problems that it happens in America, and it's just my opinion, my friend. Because I always love when you come to my space. I don't always agree with you, but I always respect you. The victimhood, and that's not just the black, it's every community. We went through this, so we're owed this. The victimhood and entitlement that permeates through America, it's enough, bro. When the fuck did we lose our values as Americans? Why are we entitled to anything? I'm just curious.
Well,
speak. Hold on. Let me just say this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to you, and then no, you're fine, sir. I want to go to you now, and then I'm gonna go to Overwatch. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, yeah, and it shouldn't be communicated. And I agree with you. As victim, it could be, hey, look, give me or loan me or let me have so that I can fix this myself. I don't want you to keep. I know I have a plan to fix this. And even if you use the word, because I know the word reparation is taken out of context, but let me repair some of what has gone on. And I think this will put us in a better space and face in terms of relationships, because if not, you use the word insanity, this thing don't get any better. And I see the America moving toward not civil war and anarchy, but there's some real serious things happening in the country, and you really not gonna get the real pulse from the media because they corporately paid and bought and play games.
Well, Speak, thank you. Let me just say this. I don't think civil war is a possibility, but the division in the country can get greater. I believe that. People pick their political parties like they pick their football teams, their baseball teams, and they stay with them. That's it. They don't give a fuck.
Every minute, every day.
Greg, let me just tell you this, bro.
Children
And I don't
die
speak for
every
myself,
minute,
obviously.
every day.
I am sick of pronouns, and I'm sick of trans rights, right? I'm not saying these people shouldn't have rights. I'm just sick of having it shoved down my throat until I say I'm fucking full. I'm full, bro. Good morning, Overwatch.
Top of the morning, sir.
How you doing, brother?
Top of the morning, sir. Walking 15 in your honor.
Thank you, sir. American Freedom Fighter, how you doing? American.
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, guys. I'm enjoying the conversations, and maybe when I get a chance, and I might say something. Thank you.
No problem. Guys, we're going to go popcorn style. If you want to grab the mic, please do.
Listen, the problem is regime change. You and I know that America has been involved in regime change far too long. This game has to end. We can't keep spending taxpayer dollars to fund USAID, to fund covert regime operation changes. And what happened in Ukraine is our responsibility. We have to clean it up. But we can't clean it up with a wild card like Zelensky in office. He has to be regime changed, in my opinion.
I'm sorry if I'm interrupting somewhat. I just really love the fact that you guys, Americans, are really not avoiding the conversation and not avoiding the responsibility. Like, we know that it's not all American people who did this and like they were doing this whole time. I really love the fact that you understand that some part of your government, they were overthrowing governments, like they were provoking wars. They were doing all this stuff. I'm really fucking happy that you are open to this conversation and you even know who did this and that you take responsibility for all this bullshit that has happened to the world. I'm really thankful for that.
Thank you, Igor. Let me say, I'm going to say a polarizing statement. Israel needs America. I believe that wholeheartedly. Netanyahu met with Trump, and you know what he did? He said, "Thank you, sir, may I have another?" Zelensky comes here, and he shows his arrogance. That's just my opinion.
That's because Benjamin Netanyahu is an intelligent person, a well-crafted statesman who has countless years of experience. Zelensky is a go-go dancer in jumpsuits. There's a big difference there. One guy served in the military and is a patriot liberator. The other one is a clown and a puppet.
Thank you.
Hold
on.
Then what is Putin? Is he the savior? Is Putin the savior? What is he?
He's a man like any other man dealing with a war. The fact of the matter is, the USA is out of this business. It's our responsibility, but we know that we are the primary responsible mover for most of these big problems. It's the USA which is causing these problems.
Then why doesn't Trump tell Putin to have a ceasefire? Why didn't he do that?
How do we know he hasn't?
He would have brought it up if he did.
Well, listen, Raj, let me just say this before I go to Norm. And I said it earlier before some of you people in the room. I'd rather have a president, a leader, that has dialogue with the enemy or the other side than a president that's shitting his diapers and smelling a little girl's hair, who's weakened at Bernie's as the president. That's really the truth. Let me tell you something. In my opinion, we as Americans are really lucky that America didn't go to a major war when Biden was president. Norm?
Trump said he'd end the war in one day, Jay. Did he?
No, but he's done other things that he promised to do. Norm, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that Trump did get Putin to agree to a ceasefire, which is why he was asking Zelensky to sign on to the same. And we would have had a pause. It's clear that Ukraine is not going to push Russia out of certain territories. And it's time for this war to end. I'm a little bit skeptical of an ongoing massive war in Europe with no end in sight. And the idea that Trump negotiated a ceasefire, even though it's not necessarily what either side wants, right? Yeah, Russia wants to engulf Ukraine.
Ukraine and invade Europe. It looks pretty clear. And they will take advantage of any weakness they see. What do they say, the Russian expression, push the knife until the knife hits the bone and you can't push anymore. And Zelensky wants his Crimea back, which he lost under Obama. Obama did nothing. And he wants the Donbass back. He can't win it, and he hasn't been winning it. So just freezing the thing and letting the tempers cool down, I think was a really good option. And I'm baffled by anybody that doesn't see that or doesn't think that that's a desirable outcome from this diplomacy.
Raj, hold on 1 second, because I want to just...
One quick question, guys. One quick
Hold
question.
on 1 second. I promise you'll get your question in a second. Thank you. So, Hannah, let me explain something to you. Right? I'm not a Trump lover or supporter. But all we hear about Trump is how bad he is. He's a narcissist. He's a sociopath. You know what a true narcissist is? A man who says he's going to run for 1 term and then runs for a 2nd term knowing he has no chance. He put his ego ahead of his country. So fuck Joe Biden. Get Raj.
Who invaded Ukraine? Can you refresh my memory?
What's your point, Raj?
Well, my point is, why does Trump make Putin look like the good guy and Zelensky the bad guy? Why didn't he go to Putin and say withdraw? If he's the peacemaker, he's going to end the war. Just tell Putin to pull out.
Did you
You're
see?
not serious, Raj. Raj, you're not serious. Like, let's stop.
world. That's just fucking kidding.
Let's stop this clubhouse retard shit where we let retards come and
I
say
asked a
retard
simple
shit.
question
Like
nobody answered.
No, it's a
I asked
retarded
who
question. There's a difference between a simple question
I
and
asked
a
a simple
retarded question.
nobody
You're asking a retarded question.
You're obfuscating. You're obfuscating. You can't answer a simple question. The answer is
You can't pronounce the word obfuscating, okay?
So it is offending. It is offending even to hear these kind of fucking nonsense questions. No, I'm not talking even about to reply to this bullshit. I'm feeling offended that I heard this bullshit.
My question was too difficult.
Wait, hold on, everybody.
Well,
Hold on a second.
Norman
Guys,
set the tone
guys,
for
hold
that.
on, Greg, hold on. Igor, if you're gonna be sensitive and that hurt your feelings, just to leave quietly.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're big boys and big girls in this room, and Raj is entitled to his opinion, even though we don't all agree with it.
You see, the problem with that question is it's a reductionist question. It takes us out of the now. The problem.
Edmund, hold on, bro. Let Greg speak. Go ahead, speak.
No, L. Norman just said something very important where it creates the conversation around the why, the when, and where it goes. So you derail the conversation when you start just pointing the finger, because there are people who could say, no, I heard that so-and-so started the fight, and you didn't know that so-and-so. So if you get into that stuff, you lose the opportunity to settle the differences. And so what Al Norman said was a way to begin to look at where does it go, not so much where and when did it. It's already in motion. So that ain't going just to say who started the fight. My mama didn't go to that. Stop the goddamn fight. Right,
Greg, I agree with you. Let me say this, bro. Under Joe Biden, there was no talk of peace. Or there was no talk of a ceasefire. Zero. Nobody ever heard them saying that Biden's sitting down with Putin or the Russians. Nobody said any of that. But Trump comes in, and guess what? He gets them to the table. Isn't that what we want in a leader, to get the people that are fighting to the table? And let the pieces fall where they may when it's done? Go ahead, Mike, then I'll go to Cecilia.
I'm just going to add 2 cents about the difference between Ukraine and Israel, as far as I see it. If, God forbid, the day came where the U.S. said, you know what, Israel, we wash our hands of you. No more funding, no more relationship. It's over. You're on your own. I have the sense that Netanyahu and the Israeli people generally would stand there with their chin in the air and fight to the fucking end, because they're fucking menches. The second that there's no more tit to suckle from, Zelensky will skedaddle. He stayed bravely to suckle from the teats of other countries, and the whole thing is a fucking grift. I have no respect for the men.
You, Mike. Cecilia, Hold on, Raj. Cecilia, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
You want to chime in? You want to say how great America is?
Sorry, it's my dog.
Your dog must have a bullshit
What did
detector.
you say?
I said, did you want to chime in on how great America is?
No. I just want to answer the question about who invaded Ukraine. It was Russians, but it doesn't matter at all because it's now time to stop
Thank you,
this.
Captain Obvious.
And Trump is doing this, and Zelensky must obey and do what Trump told him.
Well, that was the most astute share we've had today. Guys, we're going popcorn style.
I like how Emrys Barb in the chat says that Speaker Greg is a weak man, and the fact that she uses, the black hand emoji, 3 checks up. This racial identity politic bullshit is insane and low IQ. The problem is discrimination in terms of constantly using the term black or white. But going back to what is happening in Ukraine, peace is now. This is the equilibrium we need on the planet for Ukraine, for America, for the taxpayers. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people here who keep using a conjunctive adjective, or it's called but, or however, and everything is always Putin is a piece of shit. Well, if you knew the truth about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and his laptop from hell, we have to be self-reflective and know that America is the piece of shit in many ways, and we keep electing pieces of shit. And they're still in the Congress, they're everywhere. So wake up, America, and stop voting for these pieces of shit who are doing regime change operations and putting us $40 trillion in debt.
Emmy, thank you. Let me just say this before I go to Emrys. I don't know Speak Gregory in real life. I've only shared space with the man on this app. But from what I've gathered from Gregory, right, I don't agree with probably, 80% of the things he says. But I know he does some real good things in real life. Not off the side. The man has a life. And he does a lot of good things in real life. So Greg got my respect. Emrys, how you doing? Good morning.
Shalom, pretty well. I am playing good name on my mouth. The old person I spoke on was good.
I can barely hear you, bro. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I didn't bring all them other names, and I ain't put no colorism out there. I was speaking directly to Greg because I heard him. And I also heard everybody on this platform. When I'm looking at the news, I know for a fact J.D. Vance put out when he was running Believe the Lie. Putin started that war. Now somebody else give me in writing that I'm wrong. But I got a very good memory. Putin started that war.
Nobody disagrees.
I didn't interrupt you, Mr. JP.
Okay. But it's my room. So I'm going to say something here. We all know that, Captain Obvious. We know who started the war. What we're trying to have a dialogue on is how do we finish the war? How do we get it to end? How do innocent civilians stop getting killed? That's what we're talking about. So when you come up and insult our intelligence and say, who started the war? We all know who started the war. We all know Putin's a piece of shit dictator. We know this. But why can't we have a perspective and look through a different lens?
Yeah, and Jay, and the reason why I responded and said what I said wasn't a position of weakness. It was to create the dialogue, and that will come out in the wash. You could go straight to who started it, but okay, then we end this conversation, or we come up with another title, or would we still be talking about fixing it, reconciliation, or it's never going to be fixed and we just need to get some popcorn and watch it go down? That's all. So that's not weakness. You didn't hear me say one way or the other who started it. I'm not interested in that part because it ain't, the question on the table is not who started it. And I didn't come to talk about that. I came to basically talk about where do we go from here. And I think if you were listening to me, I didn't take a side, period. I didn't mention anything about Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance. I didn't say anything about either Putin or Zelensky. I didn't say anything. I said the climate and how you discuss these things with a bunch of strangers on an app that gonna, say their perspective, give their opinion, and some say they facts. That's it.
Thank you, Gregory. So we got in the chat, Dog Victoria never fails. Trump is bowing down to Putin. How exactly is he bowing? Victoria, come up to the stage. Tell me, I want to hear how he's exactly bowing down.
She's projecting. She's the sociopath. She doesn't believe in peace. They want to increase the escalation. They want war. And it's ironic that these leftists are actually big military industrial complex. They don't believe in a deep state. They think the deep state's a good thing. I mean, if you were here earlier, I read what Kennedy wrote on X. That's the truth. And Trump is sympathetic with Putin because of Russiagate, because of the incredible lies and propaganda that Hillary Clinton, Obama, and the British intelligence services have done against this country. They have lied about our president. They have created fake information, misinformation, disinformation, and you know it and I know it. The truth is out now, and those people need repercussions. We need arrests in the USA, in my opinion, and the DOJ has to go after these fraudsters.
Hold on. Roger, hold on. Let me just say this real quick.
You can't come up.
Hold on. Well, Donald Trump came out and said that, he had met with Joe Biden in the White House after the election and all that good stuff. And he said Joe Biden blamed Obama for the loss. What do you guys think? Was it Obama's fault the Democrats got smashed?
I think it was Megan Thee Stallion that she was twerking on a stage. It's my opinion. I don't know.
I think it was the abortion clinics outside the DNC convention hall where they were providing active abortions. It's the culture and the weakness and the stupidity that the Democrats projected on the population who rejected their lies, fraud, and misinformation.
He's going to make a statement like that. Pin a link in the chat about abortion clinics outside the DNC. That's the first I'm hearing that bullshit.
What an ass clown.
No, I remember hearing about it at the time.
Okay, then pin a link in the chat. I want to see where there was active abortions being done outside the DNC. That's the stupidest thing. Edmund, you said a lot of stupid things, but that is gaslighting stupidity.
Totally. He's an ass clown. Not sure why he's even talking.
Malone, you had your hand raised. Did you want to jump in?
Yeah, look, I really agree with a lot of what's been said about Zelensky. I think that for him, the fact that him or not, I think the ongoing Ukraine war or any prospect of that continuing in any realistic way ended on November 5th or whenever Trump got elected. The writing was on the wall, so to speak. Now they're just really hurting themselves if they want to continue that. I think all the moves about, if U.S. pulls out of NATO, all this stuff, it's kind of a win-win for the U.S. at this point. U.S. is in a very good position because, look, they could pull out, and then if you're hearing like European leaders be like, we're gonna up our military budget to because the U.S. is so unreliable. It's like, that's exactly what the U.S. wants you to do, dummies. You just stand up for yourself and grow a pair. And then if they don't, if they are like, yeah, we want you, U.S., if they couch out of the U.S. and say, please stay with us and we're going to pay our, do everything you ask, also a win for the U.S. So, but this war's got to end, and I think it's really, and I think so, one thing people haven't given a lot of lip service to is, if this is, however this goes, I think Ukraine's going to be way better off if Zelensky just resigns at this point. I don't want to talk about political correctness, but I want to pause.
Hold on a second. Raj, you got to chill, bro, because you keep interrupting and I'm losing my thought. So, Agent, Zelensky's never going to resign. His ego's too big. Yeah, Raj.
I have a question for Marshall. If Putin comes and meets Trump in D.C., can he be arrested for war crimes?
Say that last part again. I didn't hear it.
If Putin visits Trump in the White House, can Putin be arrested for war crimes?
So did he arrested Netanyahu? Like he's also has been ordered
in the United States, but don't quote me on that.
So we don't know.
This is the same question as who invaded Ukraine? It's a meaningless, stupid question, sir. Trump is not going to have Putin arrested if he comes to America. You're asking, again, ridiculous, facetious questions. And JB, I know you posted that link, but I put the chat to NBC News about the mobile abortion clinics. I'm just telling you that the messaging was terrible.
It wasn't sponsored by the DNC, bro. They didn't offer free abortions or vasectomies, anything like that.
Well, look at my link, and then I'll look at your link. But I mean, I just agree. I just disagree with you.
Okay, you're allowed to disagree with me. That's fine. I'm gonna do a quick room reset. Healthy debates. What does it mean to be politically correct, guys? Are you allowed to have an opinion that differs from everybody else? Kelly, Roy are in the room. Tanya, Jacob, how you guys doing? Jennifer, Bob, Victoria, the gaslighter. We got the world famous Matt Cool here. Matt Cool, come up to the stage, man. I got a little smoke with you, bro. We got Dr. Jordan. Guys, what does it mean to be politically correct? If you have a pink ticket, please cash it in. Win today's raffle prize. Today's raffle prize is an all-expense, all-you-can-eat lunch with El Normo. Going popcorn style, guys.
I would tell, like, as a joke, but I don't know would you like it or not. Being politically correct is not calling the Jews, but calling it globalists. It is politically correct.
Can I say something about this, a little bit related to this? I watched a podcast today with John McWhorter. Some of you might be familiar. He wrote a famous book, or he wrote a lot of famous books, but one during 2021 or so. Oh, sorry, I was about to sneeze. I think it was called The Elect or Woke Racism. Woke Racism. So he talked about wokeism in this, and I think what's interesting is, he talked about it, we're past peak woke now, but we can also look back and reflect on, like, well, was there some good stuff to wokeness? Did things open up? Was there some awareness
Wait, listen, Weirdo, hold on. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you know who John McWhorter is?
No, I don't. What does that have to do with the conversation we're having?
Oh, I apologize. No, it had to do with political correctness.
Okay. Anywho, Marshall, you there? El Normo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I gotta get going. So if you guys you want to keep the room open?
Okay.
I can hang out for a little bit, yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Anyways, I think everybody should be happy. Good news is on the way. That flare up in the Oval Office was the beginning. I mean, it only gets better from there. That was the zit popping. And, everybody knows what happens after you pop a zit. You heal. And the de-escalation of violence is right around the corner. Unless there's some type of bullshit false flag attack from some deep state BSers, whether it's nationally or internationally. That's what we have to be afraid of, is bad actors.
I wanted to say that someone asked, like, did Trump talk to Putin or not? And why is he doing all these things to Zelensky? If you guys remember, when Trump was campaigning, he said that my plan is I will come to Zelensky and ask him to stop the war. If he will not agree, I will just fucking leave you alone. And he said, and I will go to Putin and will ask him to stop the war. If he refuses this thing, I will just, give more weapons to Ukraine. I will give them Tomahawks, whatever the fuck they need. I will give to Ukraine whatever the fuck Zelensky would ask if Putin rejects the peace deal. So we can think that Putin agreed on a peace deal. And Zelensky did not. This is why Trump acts this way. Because when Trump was campaigning, he said, if Zelensky would agree, I will make these kind of things. So yeah, we can assume that Zelensky refused and Putin accepted.
I just love how people keep going back to mineral deposits. Like there's like it's cash in a bank or something. Like it doesn't require a whole lot of work to even develop them and to extract them and process them. Meanwhile, Putin's like, we have a ton of minerals you can extract here. It's like that's a big nothing burger. Everybody knows it. The fact is, when Zelensky says, we need security concerns, you must leave soldiers in my country, it's like, bro, you're done. Like, you need to be elected out of office. Will the people of Ukraine even put him back in office? No, he suspended elections. The problem with regime changes, it subverts the will of the people. The voters decide their future. They're the ones who want peace. It's these governments and corporations which are killing the people for profit. The people want peace. They want peace all around the world. It's big business and bullshit lying politicians which cause these problems. It's the military industrial complex. It's big pharma. It's big banking. It's big energy. They're the ones who want conflict and regime change so they can subvert the will of the people. That's the truth.
And you know what Ukrainians say right now? They say, look at Putin. He's licking Trump's boots. He's offering his minerals. Like, he has to be so fucking desperate, the Putin, that he's offering, like, what he has to Trump. And, like, it's Ukrainian who telling this bullshit. Like, it's just crazy. It's a crazy world.
So Zelensky should surrender Monday. Is that the plan?
Zelensky should not surrender. He just needs to make a peace. He just needs to sit on a table. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that fucking Zelensky made a law that restricts him from a peace fucking deal. Did you know that?
It's true. He needs to do meditation, reflection, and submit himself to the will of the people. He needs to bend the knee. But you saw him in the Oval Office. You know he's not that guy. He's not that emotionally intelligent to say, Mr. President, I have come to submit to you to help bring the peace. No, he went in there and said, if you don't fight them now and send me $250 billion, your people will fight them in the Balkans. They will fight them in Poland. Putin is coming to conquer the world. Only I, and if you give me your money, can we fight them together? Fuck all this lies and misinformation bullshit. It's hypnosis. And Trump and Vance are the guys who outed that little rat. They roasted him. That was a roast.
So will he be subject to a roast as well when he comes over for a press conference?
I don't think Putin is asking for money.
But if he's coming over for peace, will he be subjected to the same press conference bullshit Trump gave Zelensky?
He already signed off on peace. We're trying to get what's weird is that Zelensky is losing this war, and he's saying no to peace. There's something inherently contradictory about that, in my view.
So then we should stop giving money to Israel as well. Is that correct?
Why? No, I didn't say that. What's the case you want to make?
Well, if we're going to stop for Ukraine, let's stop giving money to all countries.
I didn't say stop for Ukraine. You did.
I'm asking.
I didn't say stop Ukraine. Your premise is false.
Point. You are making a correlation and a big assumption. I mean, you can't actually. Many people think there's a lot of correlation between Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, and Russia, like big brother, little sister type of thing.
No correlation at all. Then.
Well, then why are you implying it?
I'm asking if there's correlation. You're saying no?
I'm saying I see how people could think there's a correlation, but I think there's a big difference. And I think what Zelensky did is I actually had a shock in my heart when I saw the Oval Office. I was in total disbelief as to what I was actually seeing. And I really feared in my heart and in my mind that at that moment, Russia could actually take Ukraine. And that would be a tragedy, but it could become a real politic or a real reality. And I think what Zelensky did is he actually opened up like a subconscious wound to the fact that Ukraine and Russia are divided. Now, I don't believe in that propaganda. I think they should be separate countries. However, based on what Zelensky did, I think he opened up a reality of an actual unified Russia-Ukraine, and the only way that that could happen is if Russia actually militarily took the country and defended its position, which I think could actually now be a real potential based on Zelensky's behavior.
So Russia invaded Ukraine, Israel was invaded, but there's no correlation, correct?
And now, you know how Zelensky intimidates? You know, he's like kind of retarded bully. When he says these kind of things like, oh, you have a really nice ocean here. It would be shame if someone would fucking invade your country, you know? What kind of fucking bully talking is that?
I think it's somebody just like on Clubhouse who's the lowest.
Strange thing for him to say.
He's the lowest common denominator. And I'm sure you're a great guy. I know you're out power walking. However, I just have to say, I mean, I went out on a date last night with a 27-year-old 6-foot black girl who's a former Navy soldier who deployed to wherever. And she was repeating the same propaganda, saying that Putin wants to take the Baltics. He wants to take Poland. He wants to take Ukraine. He's the new Hitler. And this is a 27-year-old black girl who works for the mayor of Chicago. And she's got a master's degree in finance. She's a former soldier. I was a former soldier, but I didn't get that type of propaganda. But the point is, the entire U.S. apparatus is built on countering Russia, from the weapon system standpoint to deployment to this is a giant global chess game. And the fact of the matter is, Zelensky's a go-go dancer who got angry in the White House in the Oval Office. It is the biggest F-up of all time of any fucking leader of a country ever. This was the biggest gotcha moment. And again, Vance and Trump roasted him like a Ukrainian chestnut. And Putin, all he had to do was sit back and wait for this to happen. But this only could have happened if Trump won. And Kamala and Soros and the whole Democratic machine, they failed in the most epic way possible. There is this universal balance happening. And the more you resist it is really more of a reflection of yourself. Because peace is now. It actually is now. Trump probably saved the world from World War III. This is great news, good news, positive vibrations. That's my opinion.
You know how Zelensky sounds? He says, "Give me your Abrams tanks. If you don't have, go fucking find it and give it to me." Yeah, it's really nice that Trump is aware of the situation, that it can lead to the bigger conflict as World War III and all this the consequences of all these bad decisions that have been made during the last 3 years. I'm really, really happy that he really wants to stop this thing, and that's good news for humanity.
It's all good news, but the problem is Zelensky.
Hold on. So, American, what do you think?
He's just chilling. He's driving a car, Marshall.
JC, you there? Looks like nobody's there.
I mean, Marshall, you know, like, what's happening now may not have aligned with your political or, you know, geopolitical theories a year ago. But where do you find yourself right now in terms of your favorability opinion of Donald Trump?
I'm worried he'll make the same mistakes as last time. I don't like Trump's Trump, so you're not going to change him. And the moment you think you've predicted him, usually the farther you are away. I don't know. From what I understand, his national security advisor and part of his policies are, say, for example, to refit and rearm the U.S. Navy. That's really important. So from that aspect, you know, I think they're doing a good job. China's supposed to have a 400-ship Navy in 2039, and the American surface vessels will be 386, and the average lifespan of those ships will be between 50 and 75 years. So we're using destroyers, for Arleigh Burke class destroyers, for example, from the 1980s, right?
But Marshall, I mean, do
And,
you want to work the next 20 to 30 years of your life to generate tax dollars to build more nuclear powered aircraft carriers and submarines? Do you really want to work to keep building those things? Like how many more do we need? I mean, can't we just give guns to our own population and a constitution in our pocket? Like what do we really need to protect this country? I mean, what is the future of the USA in terms of world hegemony and military industrial complex superiority? Like, do we just keep creating fake money to keep building it and supporting it? We don't even have the soldiers to man these ships, let alone the money to fucking service these ships and these aircrafts. And it's insane. It's like we're $40 trillion in debt. How keep what we got, keep the best. I mean, we can't keep buying this stuff. We have enough of it already.
and then the problem is, the longer a surface vessel is at sea, the more repairs have to be made. So the older the vessel, the more repairs often have to be made. And so you need more efficient destroyers, for example, which will be worth the bang for the buck. We also, and this is, I think, Mike Wall's National Security Advisor's view, we have to get rid of something called the Jones Act, which was a protectionist regime for American shipbuilding, but we are turning out essentially 5 ships a year when the U.S. is getting something like 10 to 15 ships a year.
Yeah, Peter
And
Schiff
so
goes.
getting rid of the Jones Treaty
Yeah,
would allow you to go to like South Korea or Japan or Australia and buy one of their models because we just don't have the expertise at the current moment to keep up.
well, we do. We just don't have the will to do it. I mean, we could. The government could ask.
Point, bro.
Trump could ask major corporations in this country to enact. The point is, we don't have the necessity because there's no major conflict. If a thermonuclear warhead pops off in Ukraine and there's a naval battle between the U.S. and China, and everybody's watching it on TikTok and Instagram and Meta, and Zuckerberg's in Hawaii in his bomb shelter, I mean, that could have been the reality. Instead, you have Zelensky essentially come to a clown house room and rage quit. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, like everything is like macro, micro. Like that White House room was just like a clown house room, in my opinion. You witnessed a clown house room, and Zelensky rage quit, and he got roasted. It was his roast. So, I think it's a beautiful.
It was an ambush.
That's not an ambush. An ambush happens when two enemy forces are engaged in an actual physical combat. That was a conversation. And that was a heated exchange and an emotional outburst from everybody. I'm not saying, I don't even think Trump.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting an echo, and it's hard to hear. So if we could keep our mic shut, I think we should give old Rod the chance to finish his statement. And then you can rebuttal it if you would like, Edmund. Old Rod, go ahead.
I'd like anybody to name me in this room the totality of the number of times that a vice president has been on stage with the president during a press conference. Give me any other time. Thank you. Go.
Go. What the fuck does that mean, go?
Here's my question.
Think about his
Typical.
political
Name any other press conference. Go.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. I'm trying to search my memory and I can't think of an exact moment. And I had to search my memory as to like the pairings between the the
It's an
POTUS and the
ambush,
VP.
gentlemen. It was a total ambush.
I know,
Can't tell me otherwise.
I know, but what the point is, did you like Zelensky's personality and his demeanor? No, it wasn't effective communication. You have to look at it from the point of public speaking. And this is a rebuttal to what you're saying. I mean, if you're implying that because they were together, it's an ambush, I don't see why the president and the vice president can't get along. I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't seem like Biden and Kamala really got on. Because Biden was probably annoyed with a lot of the stuff Kamala said. I just think you have to view this as like a clown house room. There's certain people you don't like in a room because of the way they communicate and the way they project. It's negative speech generally. It's very aggressive and annoying. But the point is, I think JD Vance is doing a great job. I think Trump is doing a great job. Listen, they're doing great work. That was a very cordial communication in many ways. I mean, Trump could really have embarrassed him, but they had the conversation out. Listen, I'm just saying that peace is now, like I'm doing yoga today, I'm going to the gym today. if you can't create peace in your own life, how can you expect these people to create peace in their lives? Like, we have to even have personal responsibility in a clown house room for having joy now, for having peace now. I may sound like a new age moron, but I really do believe that we all have the ability to actually create peace and joy in our lives right now. That's my opinion.
Then bring the invader over from Russia and let's ask him the same questions. I'm all for it. You're right. Equality is rules. Let's bring the other guy over here and let's see what runs through his head.
I know, but
When does that happen?
you can't actually demand the Johnny Carson roast every night of the week, and Putin isn't going to come over here and fall in the same pit. Like, there's a saying here in Chicago where I live. Sam Giancana, the famous mafia boss, is on recording from the FBI saying to one of his associates in the mafia, "Do you see that fish on that wall there? Do you know how it got there? It opened its mouth." And you could say that that alludes to Christ and what happened to him, etc. The point is, the fish that opens its mouth gets hung, gets killed. Be careful what you say. Think about what you're going to say. Think about how people are going to interpret your nonverbal emotional actions. Zelensky failed. Putin wouldn't set himself up for the same failure because he's maybe an intelligent man who came from KGB. Listen, the fact is that the fake news media puts out an article saying that Trump was recruited by the KGB and his code name is Groznev. This is all misinformation, fake information distributed by our own intelligence services who hate Trump. They are creating fake news all the time, and you may be a victim of it. It's my opinion. But I would just say, create joy now. Create peace now in your life. Because I think Trump and Vance are both very equanimous people. They're peaceful people. They want peace. They believe in personal peace. They have families. They have their lives. They know that peace is the optimal way to come to conclusions and solutions and creation. I think they are actual peacemakers, and I think Kennedy is there. I think Tulsi Gabbard is there. I think this administration, this board of people are peacemakers, and it's maybe people on Clown House that don't have the peace in their lives, so they come here to spread their own disease.
And hold on, I hate to do this, but I'm not going to be able to fully keep track of people, so I'm going to go ahead and end the room. I'm going to be doing something where I can listen and respond only occasionally. So, thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Fucking killed it, didn't I? Boom!